All right, so now we are on to topic number 3, or segment 3, or video 3, however you want to look at it, where we're going to talk about creating memorable NPCs. I don't remember where I left off last time. I'm just going to go Jade. Jade, you're starting. Is it with Jade? Was it? All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. It doesn't really matter, but I just I get everybody's shot to be number 1. What techniques do you use to give NPCs depth and backstory?
Depth and backstory. Typically I start.
Okay, what techniques do you use to provide that?
Okay. So NPCs, unless they become a reoccurring NPC, I will list the name, their profession, and what their secret goal in life is. That's about as in depth I go for the non-important NPCs. Once an NPC becomes important, and you'll know when NPCs become important because your players will take a vested interest in that NPC, for good or bad. Once that has happened, that is when you start adding more depth to them. You start finding out, who are they? What do they want in life? What trials have they overcome in life to get to where they are now? And your village innkeeper might have been a level 20 fighter in his heyday, or whatever the case might be. Once the players start opening up to those NPCs, and those NPCs become important to them, that's when I start giving them even more depth. I'm not going to waste my time on the blacksmith that they're going to visit the one and only time and then leave town. That's not where my time should be spent as a game master. So listen to your players, react to your players. If an NPC becomes important to them, spend some time on that NPC. Find out who they are, what they have done in their life to get them to this point, and what is their goal. And I think that is the most important thing to make a NPC have depth and weight in the game, or in the setting and the campaign, is what is their goal? Because without a goal, what are they doing? Why are they there?
I think you may have answered this already, but I'm going to ask it just to see if this goes deeper. How do you incorporate player interactions to influence NPC development?
Again, this goes back to one of the first things we said, the campfire chats. If they're going to spend time, getting to know not just each other as characters, but the NPCs that are around them, like if they go and hire a hireling to carry their bags for them, or a guide to take them somewhere, and they start asking that guide, hey, who are you? What do you do? I'm going to expound upon that character, and I'm going to give that character more depth at that moment, because the players have taken an interest in that character. And role play moments like that can happen at any time. It's worse when they happen to happen during combat, because things are hectic, crazy, and maybe things get lost in translation. But if the players are going to take a vested interest in somebody, make them interesting. Give them, sure, they could be a dung farmer. They could be a dirt farmer or something, and that could be the end of it. If you're feeling lazy that night, that's fine. But if the more interest you show in what your players are interested in, the more they're going to be invested.
Okay. Bear, moving on to you. What techniques do you use to give NPCs depth and backstory?
Well, I think we can all agree that that's my Achilles heel as a GM. My NPCs are boring. And,
they're horrible.
Devoid
seriously, don't. If you really want to see the worst NPCs ever,
they are the worst. They are the worst. The bad NPCs. Everyone knows it. Everyone says it. They know they're bad. It's the way it is.
All of that lies. I wish I had a lies icon I put on the screen. Boom, lies.
I'll say this for the benefit of Brian in the chat. Sometimes you have to make the NPC a bit of a caricature. And when he becomes a little bit of a caricature, he takes on a life. And when that life becomes vibrant and there, the players will respond to it. And suddenly, the throwaway is now the pet. It's the way it goes.
All I can think of now is Thunder Cougar Falconbird.
Thunder Cougar Falconbird. All you got to do is basically make sure that you are invested in the NPC, and the players will be invested as well. That's my technique. And I give them little funny voices.
So, because you are in reality very good at this, what is your process for developing NPCs that feel realistic?
Well, I cheat because, I'm an actor, or I was an actor. So I use all of those techniques of just how do I make them feel alive in the situation, right?
Can I give you a couple examples that I
Sure, go
thought were
ahead.
excellent? In the Codex Albana game, first of all, I forget the guy's name. I'd have to go watch the video. But the first group of people that we came across, the ones that wanted to just nail people to crosses,
Oh, the Estradi. Yeah.
the
There was
Estradi,
Purebred.
I really felt that they felt realistic. They weren't caricatures, but they weren't. In terms of like, I felt that this guy, yeah, he's a tyrant. He's definitely got his beliefs about him. He was gonna do his Inquisition the way he was gonna do it. At the same time, he was a person though, not just okay. You can't talk to this person. You can't deal with this person, even if it was difficult, and we didn't/couldn't. You see what I'm saying? Does that make sense here? Like
Yeah,
there was a
sure.
real person behind that, not just like, okay, why even bother? Because this guy is just somebody we have to kill,
Yeah. No, I don't want to make you have someone be just to kill. I want you to want to kill. You know what I mean? There's a difference. There's a big difference. I want the players to want that fucker dead. You know what I mean? I want them to be like, I hate that fucking guy. I want to kill him. As opposed to, oh, clearly this is the bad guy. I should stab him. If you watch the hero game where Brian interacted with Conquistador, and he literally, just as a character, presented him why are you mad at me for invading your city when you guys have been fucking around in my country nonstop for the last 10 years? And Brian legitimately had a hard time responding to that. He was
I
like,
actually saw that one, yeah. Yep.
And that because the character was real, the character had motivations, the character had an existence. He wasn't just there to be a speed bump for the player. He was there to challenge the player. He was there to make the player think a little bit more, and that helps.
Okay, I have another NPC of yours I'm going to talk about, but later when I do the open question. So Malachi,
Okay.
Yes.
what techniques do you use to give NPCs depth and a backstory?
Hang on a second. I
only asked it 3 times.
had to go over my notes.
Okay.
Normally, like a backstory, I'll keep it pretty general. I'll fill in the details as the game progresses if need be. And I'm also with Jade on if it's like the blacksmith to start, going to be more throwaway character. I'm not going to worry about anything. And I'll give them like 2-3 traits that really define them and give them motivation.
Okay.
And I don't like doing voices because I don't feel I'm all that great at it. I go more for speech patterns.
Me too. What methods you use to make NPCs relevant to the campaign setting? An example
Is
in
that
the
an open question or is that a direct question?
no. This is follow up. The open one will be similar to that, but so for example, let's use characters in the game that we're running, like Esmeralda.
Yeah.
Actually, I was thinking
make
more
Esmeralda relevant?
of how Bear took over Philip.
Okay, there you go.
And
I mean, now that he is an NPC, yeah.
it really resonated with my character. The idea that, it's all the same. All this religion stuff, it's all the same. That really resonated with my character. And that's why I think it is. You have to find something that the characters will click on and will work with them and run with it.
But let's just say that, like in Jade's example, all of a sudden they want to spend a lot of time with the blacksmith. How would you make that blacksmith character something that's relevant for them in the future?
If maybe he's like, okay, you're coming here a lot, maybe he needs help with something. And then you help him enough, he's going to start giving you a discount. When you need work done or when you need something made, you need repairs. Or you never know. He may have an ear to somebody higher up that can help you out.
So in my Kingsgate campaign, Jellyfish, one of my players, Jess, she went to the armor, the smith, and he's a minotaur, so she started talking shit to him, being hurt, her barbarian being hurt, and then she started tweaking on this axe that he had, and suddenly I've got something to do with him because she wants that axe. So he says, when you earn it, when you are ready for this axe. And then she came back after her first outing. She's like, I'm ready for the axe. He's like, no, you're not. You haven't earned this axe at all. Earn it. And she doesn't know what he means. Spoiler alert, I don't fucking know what he means.
That's awesome.
Yeah, you figure it out later.
I'll figure it out later, you know?
Okay. So the question that I'm going to ask all of you is something I kind of picked up while you guys were talking. How do you make an NPC that can guide the party but doesn't spoil everything? And I'm going to tell you, there's only been like 2 or 3 times in my entire life with all the game masters that I've played with that this has ever happened. And one of the examples is the name that I just mentioned a moment ago, but Esmeralda. I thought Esmeralda was just absolutely incredibly perfect for guiding us forward, but not spoiling things for us.
How do you mean?
She would say things like, "Hey, I'm looking in the stars. It's time. It's time to do this, or we should probably go forward." But then you'd go right to Laurel and Cody and be like, "What is your decision? What do we do?" And he did the player thing. What do you see? It's confusing in the stars. You need to make the decision. This is your plan. But I do know that whatever it is, we need to do it now, or we need to, whatever. I mean, there were some points like the hill and meeting Mama and so forth. But generally speaking, she was guiding us without telling us what to do or taking over the campaign. Like, okay, what's next?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Speaking of the devil, and he shall appear.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hungar.
But yeah, no, but that's the thing. You can't. All they can do is advise, right? They have to be conciliaries. They have to be there. Sorry, I'm talking to Americans. I apologize. They have to be conciliaries.
I knew what you meant.
What? Sorry, was that Malachi?
I said I knew what you meant
Yeah.
the first time.
I didn't.
Anyway, so they have to be conciliaries. They have to be counsel. They have to be advisors. They have to be providing, hey, maybes, as opposed to you need to. You know what I mean? And then always, when the player then asks for direction from them, have them be, well, there's 3 ways you could go, but you're really going to have to choose. You don't make the choice for the player. You have the conciliary give counsel. They give advice. They show, we could go left, we could go right, or we could go center. Each will have its own effect and its own outcome. But ultimately, you are the person who has to choose this. I just know we need to choose. Boom. Now the players have to make decisions again. Because if not, you all know exactly what players are going to do. Sit around on a rock.
Yep.
And piss each other off.
100%. Seen that so many times, and this is why I was crazy impressed with how Esmeralda was, because I honestly, the first couple of sessions, I was like, well, I don't know where this is going to go. Either he's going to kill her off because she's given us too much information, or she's just going to spoil everything for us, and we're just going to be following Esmeralda around everywhere. Never happened. And I was happy with that, because I've only seen that maybe 1 or 2 times in my entire 40 years of gaming, and I've messed up that a few times. One of the reasons I try not to do that for the group, because even I fall into that trap.
Absolutely, I have to. But now she's gone. Tough shit. Now you're on your own, boys. Good luck.
Oh, you know what's great? And I mentioned this to somebody. Sorry, Jade. Is that she? Is like Bear's taking like 1 NPC away from us like per session? It seems like pretty soon it's like, wait a minute, we're on our own. Where'd everybody go?
Every major plot point, they seem to lose an NPC.
Yep.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jade. Sorry.
I mean, you can definitely include the mentor character, from the hero's journey cycle. You can definitely include the guide, the mentor, but you have to also have compartmentalization. They don't know everything that's going on in the world. They only know what they have in front of them and what they have experienced. So when I have the guide or the mentor type NPC going with the party, they only know what they've experienced up to that point. They don't know who the antagonist is. They don't even know what the plot of the antagonist might be. So asking the questions like, well, what do you think we should do? I'm like, I don't know what you should do. I can tell you what your options are from this point, from where we are. But beyond that, I don't know. I know as much as you do. I'm here to guide you. Like, you can choose the mountain path if you like. I've been up it many times. I know where a lot of the pitfalls are and a lot of the landslides are. We can try the path through the forest, but there's a lot of monsters there. or you can try to go through the caves. However, I would advise against that because there are things that lurk in the dark that not even I want to deal with. And that's how I handle. Huh?
But when they make their decision, that NPC must immediately become Wayun from Deep Space Nine. The founders are wise. You know what I mean? They have to immediately not contrary them, but back their play.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So once you're right. Once the players have made the choice of whatever direction or whatever thing they're going to do, after the advice has been given, and the potential pitfalls of the path chosen, that player or that NPC kind of steps back. It's like, all right, you've chosen. Let's go forward. Let's keep moving. And then that NPC follows them up to a point until this is where my knowledge stops. I no longer have any more advice for you. At this point, you are on your own, and I must return to the village, to go about my duties there. Come see me when you return.
Stay a while and listen. Exactly.
Okay. All right. Before we, anything else you guys want to follow up with before I read a couple of super chats and then move on to the next question?
9.
All right.
All good here.
Grizzly Beardo mentions over on the Rumble sides for $10. Thank you again for the $10, Grizzly Beardo. Really do appreciate that. Something I was going to ask you guys, if I hadn't rolled a 1 on telling time, it's okay. It's all good, man. How do you guys kill your darlings in your campaigns? Like, how do you handle it when a PC kills your favorite NPC? I've got an answer to that, but let's actually go around. Let's start with Malachi. What PCs kill your favorite NPC?
It happens. I try not to get too attached because a lot of times it's gonna happen. You create this really cool bad guy. You got all these cool plots, and then they off them. I mean, it's gonna happen.
Okay, Jade.
So, because I don't have mustache twirling villains, my villains have depth. They have goals. They have succeeded at things. Okay, you've killed my bad guy, my villain, my antagonist. That's fine. But what was he trying to accomplish and why? Was it actually for the good of the people that he was doing what he was doing? Was it actually for the better of all? Well, I guess you're going to find out now, aren't you? Consequence. Okay. All actions have consequences.
Bear, when some jerk PC stabs your cat because, nobody's going to stab a kitty.
You can see how big this fucker is.
So when your cat kills an NPC...
fresh bread with butter is delicious. Fresh bread with butter and a big scoop of homemade strawberry jam is heaven. The strawberry jam is the players killing the bad guy. We won! We killed the bad guy! Really? You don't think he had minions? You don't think he had a network of people? You don't think maybe he had a brother? Maybe a lover? Maybe a child who now fucking hates you and will do everything in their power to extract revenge. And now the campaign's completely changed because it's no longer you fucking with the bad guy. It's the revenge factor fucking with you. And you have to deal with that. And okay, down, come on, your fucking claws are in me. I love that type of stuff. That type of stuff makes me so happy. Or, taking a page from Jade's book, let's say bad guy 1 was doing all this stuff in this part of the world. What you didn't know was that his machinations, like a crime lord, was keeping bad guy 2 and 3 out of the territory. But now that you've removed that power center, 2 and 3 are now coming in descending on this center and are going to start competing for it. And you fuckers made that happen. The devil you knew versus the devils you don't know now. So there's lots of things you can do with it, but don't get upset. Don't get mad. Don't, he was a doppelganger. He was
God.
The Assamites put his heart in a thing, so you didn't really kill him. No. No. I think it's Assamites, but whatever. Whoever does
I got
that. You. And if you're playing a superhero game, is he really dead?
Yeah.
Well, then there's the whole Darth Maul situation, right? You think you killed the evil bad guy, but wait a second. As a couple of the...
back.
Well,
nobody
cares about that, but there's always two, right? Who like we thought we killed the big bad guy. Oh no, the bigger bad guy was in the background, still playing the game.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. He was just a lieutenant for something bigger, so that's even better. I agree.
Always two, a master and an apprentice.
Right, but there weren't. I mean, how many Jedi knew that? There was Yoda and maybe Mace. I mean, how many other Jedi knew that there were only supposed to be two? Yeah. But all right, so that was a good question. We did get a couple more super chats in, so let me pop this one up. Gandalf, let the ring bearer decide. Yes.
Let the ring bearer decide.
I think he also, he had a comment that I wanted to star also up here. It's going to be a two-parter. An NPC I created just as a tool to get the game running. A thief to help them escape a jail to clear their names now has unintentionally become a threat after the lawful good cleric ratted out the jailbreak jerk. Was intended to be a one-off NPC, but now is a villain out for vengeance. That's great because they know it's simple, to be honest, but that's some of the best ones are simplistic, and it's a character they know. Isn't some random douche nozzle out there. This is somebody they've interacted with, and they're like, uh-oh.
So all the Doombot jokes you're seeing in the old Marvel superheroes game, when you read the Lands of Doom box set they put out for running Dr. Doom, there was a rule written right into the rules, which is even if your players took off his mask and said, yep, this is 100% Victor Von Doom, and they defeated him, it was a Doombot. And that was in the rules. Like it's always a Doombot, because Doombots are programmed to think they're Doom 100% unless Dr. Doom's around, and then they are aware that they are Doombots again. So it's just fun, that's superheroes. But superheroes storytelling is a very different beast than fantasy storytelling.
Well, there's a Rick and Morty episode like that too.
Yeah.
Crafty for $5. Good to see you, Crafty. How often do you implement random encounters in a sandbox game? Do you believe that random tables, quote unquote, keep the GM honest? We'll start with Jade this time.
So random encounters are not truly random. They appear where they make sense. I'm not going to have a giraffe, encounter appear in the high mountain. It doesn't make sense. So my random encounters are not necessarily so random. Now, there is the possibility of a encounter, just about anywhere they go. And yeah, it's going to be a dice roll, but it's not going to be a dice roll on a table telling me it's this specific encounter. No, it's going to be what kind of encounter is it? Is it a neutral encounter? Is it is it an encounter that's going to lead to combat? What kind of encounter is it? And then based on whatever I roll, I'm going to then probably use my think deck from ICRPG and come up with the encounter right there on the spot. Draw 3 cards and interpret the cards as they lay that's on the table. That is going to be the encounter.
Interesting that you said that, because I've never, in my experience, run into a random table that didn't actually, based on this is what you'll find in woodlands, this is what you'll find in mountains and so forth. But I do get what you're saying. Bear, same question for you. How often do you implement random encounters in a sandbox game? Do you believe that random tables, quote unquote, keep the GM honest?
I don't, because I don't run sandbox games, and who gives a fuck about the GM being honest? What the fuck? This isn't a sport. This is a game. The GM should never be honest. The GM should be constantly pulling hooks and turns and twists and all that to make it exciting for you.
Infinitely
Now, if
devious.
you're a lazy ass GM and you don't have any ideas, random table your ass off and have a grand time, but don't get pissy when the green dragon shows up and kills your first level party in the woods, like happened in my campaign, where I rolled an encounter in OSC on a random table in a forest, and it was a green dragon, and the players decided, oh, dragon, we should attack it. And I'm like, it was just...
So that was players' dumb. That was not your dumb. That was the players'
it wasn't
dumb.
my dumb. I'm just saying, but you could have walked away. But no. Paladin got it up her ass that she had to kill a green dragon. I think they were second level. So good luck.
And Malachi, same thing. How often do you implement random encounters in a sandbox game? And do you believe that random tables keep the GM honest?
Number one, you gotta have the tables set up for the area. Don't just use any old random table. Make sure that whatever the things that
Yes,
they
we all
encounter
read
are
Nerds chat. So go ahead. I'm messing
No.
with you.
Yeah, sorry,
No,
guys,
Crafty
it's
was
1d6
saying
glitter
about
boys
this
show up.
before.
What? We're playing OSC. No, well, that's the random table I have. It says 1d6 glitter boys show up. So good luck.
26 glitter boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
But
I agree with what you're saying. Go ahead and finish.
And one thing with random tables is that, I mean, yeah, I think it keeps GM honest about what's going on in the area. Like, let's say you got an orc tribe in the area. You're got to have the orcs be your primary random encounters.
Mhm.
And however, it's up to the players on how they interact with them.
Okay. All right, let's move on to our our sixth question. So it'll be the last one for this segment. Let me find here. There were segment 3. Okay, so this is for Bear. Bear, what tools or systems do you use to keep track of multiple NPCs and their interactions? I can almost answer this. Yeah. So you can do that.
Pancho, Pancho, why are you in charge, Pancho? Because I am the one with the brims. Where do you keep these brims, Pancho? Under my hat. You understand? Like, it's a tool. Use it.
So then, how do you ensure that NPCs have distinct and memorable personalities? So, like when you were doing that with us, and you had different NPCs have distinct, memorable personalities, but there are a couple times even you said, "Oh, wait, hold on, I got to think about that." There we go, and then we were back into it. But all told, they were distinct. We knew who we were talking to without a name being mentioned. So, how do you ensure that they have that?
I honestly, and I hate to give this answer because it is the answer we all hate, which is the I just do it answer, but it's years of practice and years of doing it.
Okay.
It's just second nature for me now. If you need tips and tricks, grab a little notepad, write down 3 or 4 personality bullet points about each character. Maybe, squeaky voice, likes the color red, laughs at inappropriate times. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
And just keep that in front of you. So when they ask that guy a question, and then off you go, and you can have fun with it at that point in time. You can make it come alive. That would be my advice.
I think that's great advice. That's actually something I've done in the past, and I don't do it as much now, but that's actually because my NPCs suck now. So, Malachi, what tools or systems do you use to keep track of multiple NPCs and their interactions?
I mean, along the lines of what Bear said, I prefer using note cards. One NPC on a note card. Yeah, keep everything.
So you're playing index card RPG too, huh?
No, this is I find index cards easy to organize, easy to reference. Keep everything. I keep everything with bullet points. I find that easiest to scan to find the relevant information when I need it.
So how do you manage NPCs that become unexpectedly, oh my God, significant due to player interest? I mean, we kind of addressed this a little bit before, but all of a sudden it's like, this was just supposed to be the guy you buy a rope from. You don't even want to role play him, but they keep going back to him for some odd reason. And now they want to have like a personal relationship with him and, whatever. How do you manage that?
Is that to Malachi or to anyone?
That's to Malachi. Let's just follow up.
Damn it.
When it comes to the open time, you're more than welcome to bring that back up.
The quickest way I do is to look to a character from a movie or TV show I like and base it off of him. Kind of like what Bear did with the guy that ran the inn. He's based on Faulty.
Okay. No, that's again. I mean,
Basil Boar's head.
Yes, Basil Boar's head.
I mean, this is one of the things when given advice and suggestions to the folks who watch the video later, that's exactly what we're looking for. Like, oh man, I didn't even think that I could do that. I mean, we all have voices in our head. Well, most of us have voices in our head when we're like reading books and so forth. And we intone, inflections, whatever into the characters as we see them. I think that novels can work, that movies can work. I think that's a great suggestion. Jade, same question. Oh, no, I'm sorry. You get. We're back to the original question for you, which is, what tools or systems do you use to keep track of multiple NPCs and their interactions? And I'm looking forward to this answer.
So,
because I know you're different.
I do use note cards. I will, I'll start by writing things down on a note card. Name, profession, goal in life, whatever the case might be. That gets me my basic NPC. I will translate whatever I've written on the table. At the end of the session. Maybe during the week in between sessions, I'll translate it to my Google Drive. I have everything digitized. Everything is digitized. However, I still have all of my handwritten notes. I still use my handwritten notes at the table. But if I need something deeper, something that, I may have misplaced, or something from, I don't know, 5 years ago when the campaign first started, I'm going to go find my digital notes because everything is there. Google Drive is free to everyone up to 15 gigabytes, and I've used 4. And it's mostly campaign notes. Mostly game stuff.
And you've got yourself one hell of a system of notes over the years. This is actually why I'm kind of looking forward to this question with you, because I actually assumed you'd be talking about that more. You've got all types of things. I don't know. You explained it to me at one point, but tied together that you've kept together in this archaic format using your abacus to figure out where everything is. But it works for you, obviously.
Hmm?
But it's very it's extensive.
Yeah, I've got a campaign world that I've been playing and running games in for over 25 years. And it is the world that I started playing in when I first started playing D&D 3.5. And I have kept that game going, or that game world going, through all the different ages of that game world for the last 20 years. And some people are like, well, that sounds boring. Why are you still in that world? Why haven't you explored other worlds? Because that world is still interesting to me, because there's still so much to explore.
Yeah,
and
they're
still stuff that
expansive.
have
Worlds are
not-
expansive.
Yeah.
They
Jeez.
are, and there's still so much to see and do in that world. Yes, I have had characters go from zero to hero, hero to legend, legend to gods, literally, in those games. And but it's still a fun world, and I still enjoy the stories of that world. My next game is going to take place during the Bronze Age of that world, because it's never been told. Those stories have never seen the light of day. We don't know what happened all those years ago. And I've got all those campaign notes and timelines and everything on the Google Drive, so I can reference them quickly and categorize them as I need them and find them as I need them.
So how do you balance the roles of friendly, neutral, and adversarial NPCs within the campaign?
So balancing out who's neutral, who's on the PC side, and who's against the PCs. It starts from who what are my antagonists, what are my main powers in the world, and what are their goals, and what sets them against the PCs, or rather, what do the PCs believe they have to run against or have to fight against? It's the PC's decision whether or not they choose to go with the Church of Theoden, and you go along with whatever their doctrine is. If they're like, no, your doctrine's whacked and it's really oppressive, we are not going to go along with this. Now suddenly they're against the Church of Theoden. That is a decision they made. So now they have to, my NPCs might go from neutral to antagonistic because the PCs have aligned themselves against certain doctrines or certain principles that those NPCs have. And I'm not going to change those NPCs on the fly. It's going to take time and role play, believe it or not, role play, to change those NPCs' perceptions of what they are doing. Is it possible? Yeah, technically, as long as they are a mortal being, it is entirely possible to change a mortal being's perspective and outlook on things. Is it going to be lengthy or time-consuming or even difficult? Absolutely, depending on how strongly they hold to their conviction. But it's still plausible that the PCs can affect the world in that way. And as far as balancing out who's neutral, who's against, and who's for them, that's all based on interaction and based on specifically role play interactions and the actions that the PCs decide to take with them. If they want to smart off to the king and they want to be assholes to the people, well, guess what? Those people are not going to treat them very kindly, and then that king's going to probably put a hit out on them, or want them for arrest at the very least.
What is somebody's got like a washer or dryer running or something in the background there?
Not me.
Not I.
Can you mute again for a second, Bear?
Yep.
It's definitely coming from you. Sounds like water running or something.
Probably it's the AC in the background. Sorry, man. It's 40
okay.
degrees here. I'm not gonna fucking turn that off. I'll
Fair
melt in front of you.
But yeah, I mean, and that's how I handle, who's neutral, who's for and against the PCs. Is what kind of interactions have those PCs had with those characters? Has it been a good interaction, or has it been a bad interaction? It's up to them.
All right, so this is where we're open up. I know Bear wanted to comment on Malachi's follow-up question. Do you remember what that was, Bear? Do you want me to read it again?
Well, I'm trying to remember what was. Yeah, remind me, please.
I asked him, how do you manage NPCs that become unexpectedly significant due to player interest?
Oh, yeah. So you were talking about the rope merchant or whatever, and they're constantly going back to the rope merchant guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
When I was a kid in school, our bus driver was a guy named Billy Carney. And Billy, later in life, when I got to know him more as more of an adult person, had a heart of gold. He was a good man. He was a damn good man. But his entire time driving that bus was to keep the kids safe. And that was Billy's entire thing. And Billy's attitude was, sit down, shut up. He was that kind of guy. Well, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to find some person from my life and make them the NPC. So if I don't really want them going to this goddamn rope merchant all the time because they're driving me nuts, I'm going to pick some abrasive asshole that I knew in my life and channel his abrasive personality into this rope. Jesus Christ, what the fuck are you doing here again? Do you need more fucking rope? Christ, just push them until they either he just becomes a fun person to play for me, that every time they go to talk to him, I get to have fun by abusing the players, or they go, maybe we shouldn't bother him anymore, and find appropriate NPCs to talk to.
Okay. Anything else you guys wanted to bounce back and forth off each other for things that were said for this? Otherwise, I'm going to hit some chat and move on to the final segment, overcoming creative blocks. All right. That was already read. That was already, so no super chats this time. So, but I did star a couple other ones. Nope, just one other one. Full Metal Dragon says Rifts would have the best random encounter tables. Roll a Rift. Could be a god, a demon, a coalition search party, or maybe My Little Pony. In Rifts, the pony would be the scary one.
I agree.
Actually, I now have, I think, a challenge.
I
am going to make a Rifts D100 Rift table of what came through. Because you can't be clown shoes enough for Rifts.
Only if number 76 on the table is Malachi.
Why
76?
Because it's a weird number to pick for Malachi. I don't know.
Oh, okay. There.
How about 78?
Don't fucking overthink it.
Yeah. And Hungar, hearts and love and kisses. XOXOXO. Back to you, baby. Thank you for your membership for 17 months. He didn't know who I was. I was on my because I was on my tablet, so I was on my alternate account earlier when DM James was streaming. Had no clue it was me. All right. So let me grab my little button here so I can. All right, please like, subscribe, and share. Just a reminder, the Some Rando RPG live stream airs live on Fridays at 6 p.m. Central Time, except for the last Friday of the month. Once this live stream ends, the full live stream remains available to YouTube members only, while the first 4 segments, which is what you're seeing here, will post about a month later for the public. So if you enjoy this discussion, please like this video, subscribe to all the panelists' channels, which you can find in the description. And next we will talk about overcoming creative block.